forecast from the First Coast News Weather Team, certified by Weather Rate, sponsored by AC Designs.
Well, how's it going, everybody? Happy Friday. I'm First Coast News Chief Meteorologist Lewis Turner, but I'm not alone. I'm not all by myself. We have not streamed together in person all week, but we have had an opportunity now to stream live via satellite. Well, sort of. It's over an internet connection. There's meteorologist Ross Muma and the Protector Ross. High salute to you too, sir. Give me your whereabouts. Give me a breakdown. What's going on?
Well, we are up in a good old Nassau County, and I got my buddy Oben here with me, driving the Protector, of course, and we're thinking about doing our own musical rendition of Singing in the Rain, because that's pretty much what we're experiencing out here. I'm going to take it to the road cam just so you can kind of see what we're experiencing. We are just about over into Fernandina Beach here. We just left Yulee High School. We got some big football going on over there later, but rain coming down pretty hard, and I've noticed the further we've driven eastward, the stronger the winds have been. We've had like sustained winds, at least recorded at the Fernandina Municipal Airport at like 20, 25, and then gusts, I mean, even within the last 30 minutes have been anywhere from 30, 35, almost upwards of 40. So yeah, kind of nasty out here. At times, it's just kind of a light shower and misty. And then next thing you know, it's like torrential downpour for 15 seconds. And then it tapers off. And then another wave almost kind of hits you in the face out here. So yeah, just kind of a nasty Friday evening out here, at least for the time being, Lou.
Yeah, and I'll look at radar here in just a moment, but there is kind of a lighter band about to come on shore there in Fernandina. But I think a big story, and now we are about 3 hours and some change past the high tide. And, Fernandina, they're downtown, right along Front and Center Street at the marina. They've had to close roads because of, the high tide flooding. Now, tide is going out, but I'd be interested to see what you see when it comes to any potential residual water still left. Because, the tides are going to be going out much slower. It's not like they're truly flushing out. So I imagine that's one of the things you'll put some eyeballs on. What's your first stop?
Yeah, I think we're just going to head down to the marina, probably first stop, to see, where the water level and line is currently at right now. Fernandina Beach is an area that probably makes a lot of money downtown on typically Fridays, end of the week, and, the weekends, Saturdays specifically, when a lot of folks are free. And of course, this isn't just going to end tonight, right? We're still going to be dealing with the coastal showers, the gusty winds, the coastal, flood warnings that are still in place, and the very, high tides of 2.5 to 3 feet. Is that going to impact a bit? Kind of want to see if we can find some, local business owners who have a shop right down there by the marina to see, are the road closures and the higher water impacting them today? Are they expecting that to impacting them tomorrow as well? So that's kind of our plan, at least for the time being.
That's good. That's a great plan. I'd be curious too. You're right. Like right at lunch today in downtown Fernandina, popular spot. If you're going to take a little lunch break on a Friday, can't think of a more ideal place to do it. But yeah, we would have had some high water right there at lunch. I love where you're driving. It's one of my favorite places on earth. So Ross, I'm going to take it over just for a few minutes. I want to show a few graphics. I got a couple of pictures I want to show as well. So you continue your trek. I'm going to check back in with you here in just a couple of moments. But first, I want to go out to Jacksonville Beach. I want to show you the pier. A little bit earlier, like I said, when we were doing the noon broadcast, we saw water levels very high at the beach, and we do note that we're getting closer and closer to low tide, which will be around that 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. Then we need to watch our next high tide cycle as we get into Saturday afternoon. So it'll be a little after lunch. Winds now sustained at 18. So we've seen upwards of 30 at the beach today with higher gusts to about 38. And that's relaxed just a little bit. Weather impact alert through Saturday morning, and really going to call it at lunchtime. So about noon, we can still see some rain. And we're holding it primarily because of any rain out potential for Saturday morning activities. By the afternoon, the rain chances, while not zero, they drop, but it's still going to be windy. And as mentioned, it's that 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon we're going to watch those high tides again on Saturday, which I've got for you there on your screen. So here's what we're going to get going Saturday afternoon. Downtown Jacksonville, right at the Main Street Bridge. We had street flooding today. And this was right around 2:30 this afternoon. So even after high water, tomorrow it's going to be at 2:12 p.m. But right at the base of the Main Street Bridge, there was some pretty high water that lower profile sedans shouldn't be driving through. St. Mary's, got a picture from St. Mary's here in a moment, and they've got flooding at their marina and their boat ramp right downtown. 1:30 tomorrow. Brunswick 1:14. We saw some flooding right at the entrance to the causeway to St. Simon's Islands and in Glenn County. Fernandina, where Ross is on his way, it'll be 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. So once again, right around lunchtime, it'll be busy down there, and it may impact some parking because I know a lot of people like to park around that marina, and that's going to be a problem. Jacks Beach ICW 316, and then the Bridge of Lions right around noon. And that's important because today the Bridge of Lions shut down right at noon through till about 3 p.m. So it was closed for 3 hours because of flooding on the Anastasia Island side of the Bridge of Lions. And that was all high tide related, not necessarily because of rain, though they have had it. It was all high tide. Now, I mentioned this picture out of St. Mary's. Terry shared this, one of our weather watchers, and we appreciate it. But look how high that water is beyond the boat ramp. You see those pilings off kind of in the middle background of that photo. Just to the right there, that's not the banks of the river. That is where you would be launching a vessel. So that's the boat ramp up to the marina, and water is clearly way up and into the street there in St. Mary's in Camden County. So we'll be thinking about your high tide again on a Saturday. Not so much rain for coastal Georgia. It's all been tidal impacts. I know we've had some off and on rain for coastal Georgia, but some of my friends in St. Simon's checking in with me. It's just been a little bit of drizzle. Erstwhile downtown Jacksonville and Southside Jacksonville, all the way down 95 through St. Johns County, we've had some pretty big impacts because of rain. Not only the tides, but in fact, one of our high school football games at Beachside had to be canceled. So they're moving it, and that was homecoming. And they're going to have to move it to a Tuesday because just muddy field. They've got the real grass. I think some of the games that have turf, you're going to be okay, and there's a low lightning risk tonight, but we'll get to that. Here's your another weather watcher's picture. This also from Fernandina Beach, where Ross is heading, just illustrating the erosion and the bite out of the sand that this angry ocean is taking. Mayport time lapse, waves of rain, and you still see some river commerce happening, but the waves of rain off and on. And downtown, look at this. Starting essentially pitch black. Can't really see because of the heavy downpour. Then you get peaks of blue sky through those clouds. And now we're in another period downtown of getting some heavy rain. Coastal flood warning, and that is our main concern unless you're a mariner and you're a longshoreman dealing with some ships and the gale warning. But really, for our intents and purposes, the wind advisory and the coastal flood warning for St. Johns River and the Intracoastal Waterway and anything that is tidally impacted. But here we go. This is your radar tour. I'm going to get back to Ross when I focus back in on Fernandina, specifically the wind. But here is some of the heaviest rain, and you see that big conglomeration of showers offshore. Now, we're not seeing any lightning detected. That's a good thing when it comes to our plans for the evening, for the outdoor football games. Obviously outdoors, but if you're going to be going out and about tonight, date night, if it's at the beach, pick an indoor spot. Probably not the best time to restaurant and establishment hop because there's some waves coming in from Jacks Beach down through Ponte Vedra, now over Highway 1 and heading into Mandarin and Fruit Cove and northwest St. Johns County, which has had a lot of rain today, kind of zipping down to that Mandarin area. Some blinding rain over 295 heading towards the Buckman. That'll impact the commute, and then zipping on down to St. Augustine, heavy rain again, and we'll have to watch that next afternoon high tide cycle. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to check back in with Ross. We're going to head up to Fernandina, talk about the winds and the rain and the impacts they'd have in Nassau County, live with the Protector. So stay with us.
Okay. We're in a 2-minute break.
Oh, did they come back to you?
They are going to, yeah. I do see a road closure down there, but I think that was just a construction. Lou, we are in front of the marina. Do you know of anything specific? I guess turn left here, maybe. Yeah, I guess just loop through. Just keep going through downtown, at least for now, I guess. What is this? Wait. Okay, actually, yeah, just pull right up here. We can pull right up to the edge. Can you see our shot? Okay. Yeah, we're like literally at the waterfront. Okay. Good stuff. Yeah.
Always has to get that. I'll play with it. What you got, like a minute?
Yeah.
That's what I was.
All right, Ross, checking back in. So one of the places that will flood at high tide, and we'll do it again tomorrow because we've been having, I mean, even in St. Augustine, we hit major flood stage downtown at the city docks. So Fernandina, a very similar story right there near the inlet. So what are you seeing downtown right now?
Yeah, so there was one road closure just to the north of the marina here. I couldn't tell if that was due to the high tide or is it just construction. But we pulled right up to the marina, so I guess we can consider taking a dip. Probably not the best day for it, but you can see how high the water did come up if I just zoom in right here, which is probably another, I'm looking out the window, 7-8 feet probably up from where it's currently at least a solid 6. Yeah, you can certainly tell the water has come up significantly. I'm just kind of looking around. The flags are flapping pretty significantly on some of the boats out here. I feel like we're kind of wedged in between some of the buildings currently that the wind's actually not terrible right where we're currently parked.
I know what you're doing.
Perhaps we found a calm zone right now. But
I know what your eyeball.
If I zoom into the,
your eyeball on that floating tiki bar. That's your speed,
I'm a
buddy.
little jerky with the controls, but
look at that.
That honestly
I don't know
sounds
if
like
I've
a great date night for you and I.
Look at that. We get 7, 8 of our closest friends and take them on the tiki bar. Now that's pretty cool. I think they had
Honestly,
one of those.
I'm considering. I don't.
Go ahead, Ross.
I don't know if we have the flotation devices. I don't know if we have the flotation devices on the protector where it kind of blows up into a raft for us to just take it out there. But certainly sounds like it could be a pretty solid option if it wasn't so choppy out there, kind of past the marina. Because looking out, kind of past some of the beautiful yachts that I could only dream of perhaps owning one day. Yeah,
Dream
the water
big.
is quite choppy out there. You got some white caps out across the way here at Fernandina Beach.
But I do notice over your what would be your right shoulder, right or left. Gosh.
Okay, my shoulder.
I'm backed up. There's sandbags, so you can other shoulder. I'm sorry, so your left. My left and my right. There we go. The sandbags. So obviously,
Let me.
we've got that marina there might be one of those businesses kind of you speak to, because they good spot to buy bait, by the way, if you want to go sharking. But they have those sandbags out towards their back door. I imagine the front side too. And again, right now tide's gone out, so evening plans in Fernandina, other than a couple of stray showers, Ross, it might be halfway decent.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible right now. I think it does highly depend on what showers do happen to move on shore and which ones don't. Because, for the time being, it's kind of dry here. We saw a lot of people just walking around, still making the most of their Friday evening, or at least late afternoon in downtown Fernandina Beach. But, if you get one of those onshore moving showers that drops a lot of rain, everyone's going to be running for the overhangs to try and stay dry out here.
Well, you go do your thing.
Obviously, we expected it to. Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut. There's like a 3-second delay, and I give you a thought, and you're about to go, and then I cut you off and try to give you a barking order. So I apologize. I'm not trying to micromanage your movements in the Protector, Ross.
Hey, I've experienced a little bit of that here over the past couple of days. I haven't been at work.
Yeah.
So don't be testing me, Lou.
I'm not going to test you. Not a chance. But you are at a distance now, so you can't hit me. Yeah, cruise around. I would be fascinated by the time we get to 5 or 5:30, whatever. What the business owners are saying. They're at front and center because, high water, lunchtime, tomorrow afternoon, they're going to have to be planning for this again. So you go do your thing. I'll check back with you in a minute. I want to look at a couple of other graphics and pull those in. So Fernandina right now, you see the showers just offshore and actually to the south side of the whole Amelia Island area. So really Plantation and south is where it's raining, and more moving into downtown and coming out of Mayport. The winds are the most relaxed that we've seen all day right now. So 18 miles an hour at Mayport. A little bit earlier we were seeing 40s. As far as gusts, so what kind of gusts? Mid-20s. I mean, even at the airport, it's a little gustier than it is at Mayport, and Mayport has consistently been our area with the highest gusts. The reported wind gusts through our day, the highest we've seen so far. Mayport reported a 51 mile an hour gust. Jack's Beach, 44 out at Fort Caroline, kind of wide open there right on the river, 46. South Ponte Vedra, you had 44 in Amelia Island at a 39. Could ramp up a little bit overnight tonight and into tomorrow. Still windy for us Saturday, mid-70s. Isolated rain. Could still see that gust to 40 at the beach primarily. And the morning will be the best chance for seeing a shower. And then maybe by the afternoon, if you get a little wraparound moisture inland southeast Georgia, you could catch a stray as well. Looking ahead to our winds through the rest of the evening, look at what it wants to paint on Brunswick and St. Mary's tonight. Now, this will be about most are sleeping and approaching that overnight high tide cycle. 55 is what the modeling is suggesting in Brunswick, and that could do some damage. You have tree limbs coming down at 55 mile an hour gust, 46 at St. Mary's, and then that may be overdoing it now, but we have had those 51 mile an hour gusts in Mayport, so we have the history of it. Getting into Saturday morning, winds still gusting to those low 40s even at lunchtime, and then by after lunch we relax a bit. This is kind of the big pattern. You see the low ultimately by Sunday. It's near the Outer Banks of North Carolina, pulling in some drier air. Now, some modeling is painting in a little extra moisture for Sunday and still breezy Sunday. I think that's going to translate to more cloud cover on Sunday and maybe just a little bit of drizzle. But overall, by the time we're into Sunday, maybe Jags football, we're getting a break from all this mess. And certainly in the long range, Tuesday through Friday, we are dry. Going to talk tropics. We're going to come back after a very quick break. We're watching our main areas of development, the tropical update. We did get a Karen. How about that? And we'll look at the very latest when it comes to still Tropical Storm Jerry, and we'll catch up with Ross one more time, see where he's heading and what he's going to teach us coming up at 5 o'clock on First Coast News. So stay right there.
Lou, can you hear me? Do you have any suggestions of places to go out here? I couldn't remember the one place you had said.
I would say go to.
Oh no, this is.
Oh, go. Okay. Yeah. Actually, turn right. Okay. Is that Main Beach Park? Oh wait, there's flooding. Go to that. Pull straight up. Yeah, we got some stuff.
All right, welcome back. So we're talk tropics a little bit. I'm going to zoom ahead, and we've seen the wind forecast. We know we're going to have another day with gusts in the 40s, maybe even 50s. We have the gale warnings offshore, so 9 to 10 foot seas. Avoid that. There's the dry air that's going to try to punch in come Sunday, and certainly by Monday we get much better weather. Let me show you the rain forecast. Early Saturday morning, still a few spots of drizzle indicated on the computer modeling. That would be coastal near St. Johns County. And then as we get into the afternoon, look at how it wants to pop a few more showers in inland southeast Georgia and a couple more on the coast as well. Can't let our guard down on Saturday either, but we're talking about 30% of us seeing those showers as opposed to about 70-80% of us today around northeast Florida. So there are your main rain chances as we go through. So let's bring Ross back. I had the high school football graphic up as Ross is checking in. So ponchos, towels. We already know Beachside High School had to move their homecoming to Tuesday. I know over at Bartram, they've got a home game, and it's been wet there, but they're playing. Last I checked, I just texted with a guy that works over there, said they're going to play, but it's going to be a muddy field, Ross. What are your thoughts? You played football. What's your advice to the families about to go watch some football?
Yeah, have the rain jackets handy. Maybe bring an extra pair of socks for the ride home because your shoes, your socks might be wet after going to the game. You don't want to be riding home with the cold, damp socks. Not pleasant. So maybe just bring an extra pair of clothes to try and change into afterwards. Player-wise, though, I'm thinking get rid of the gloves, especially wide receivers, ball handlers. You want dry hands. You don't want those gloves to be real slippy because it is going to be a wet, sloppy, muddy game out there. So you got to go old school, barehanded out there when you're trying to grab the pigskin out of the air.
Love it. And I know Ashley and the sports crew will be at University Christian, and we were talking about they actually have some waves of rain. It'll be on and off. They'll actually be mudding it, but they've got a turf field. All right, so we got 2 minutes, actually 90 seconds left, Ross. So show me what you're seeing there in Fernandina, and we'll check in with you again at 5.
Yeah, so this is the intersection of Calhoun and North 8th Street, or just to the west, I guess, of North 8th Street here. Completely closed off. I'll zoom in a little bit. Obviously, it's not too hard to tell. Pretty significant flooding. They've got barriers up on both the east and west sides here of Calhoun Street. Again, just to the west of the intersection. So this is really just one example of some flooding here in Fernandina Beach. And I had mentioned earlier we had seen some other signs of road closures. So